let's spend a few minutes here. Why don't we go out and here we'll take a state who you are and who you're with, and we'll take 3 or 4 or 5 questions here.
Hi, my name is Tracy. I'm actually an intern with Select USA that Mr. Sperling had mentioned. So my question is, we do a lot of work with FDI investments from foreign countries. So I'm curious as to the dynamic between trying to retain American manufacturing and trying to attract foreign manufacturing, especially if some of those foreign firms have their, R&D or product design in overseas countries.
You want to take a shot?
Yeah, sure. My response, I think it's all too often we think about those questions in zero-sum terms, right? In the sense that I think any company, any large multinational which invests in the U.S., whether it's a U.S. company or an international company, is almost empirically going to buy a lot of its intermediate products from local companies. And that benefits small and medium-sized businesses. So on that basis alone, I think it's to the good that any company is investing here. We also know that some of the most competitive companies historically in some sectors, take the automotive sector, I think it's terrific that it's come back and the US is doing very well. But for decades, the most productive, most innovative automotive companies were not American companies. So to the extent that you have innovative companies invest, you have the spillover effect of benefiting. So I think I wouldn't think of it in zero-sum terms in that form. I think any investment in this economy is a very good thing.
Mm-hmm. More questions? How about right here? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Nagesh Ram. I have 2 titles, actually. I work with the Stiefel Family Foundation, an angel investment group out of Silicon Valley. And then also I've co-founded a public-private partnership called Made in America, which is focused around U.S. competitiveness and manufacturing issues. It's a challenge accelerator platform. But a question that I was kind of hoping you guys could expound on was Gene Sperling kind of talked a little bit about it and touched on it, the intellectual property framework and issues around that. Because I'm guessing in Nortec and all that, and that used to be my bread and butter 10 years ago. I quit that field. But I'd like to get your perspective a little bit about what you guys have done in that space of trying to make it a frictionless situation. And I mean, I have my experiences from LA when I was helping on some stuff there, but if you could enlighten the crowd on what works and what hasn't worked so far, especially between SMEs and industrial partners.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Marty, and then, or Rebecca, and then Marty?
Well,
yeah.
actually, you're probably
each
even
do
better
it, done
prepared.
it.
Why
Yeah.
don't you do it?
Well, I mean, I think you're talking about SMEs to large. I think we have less experience with that.
Also with university to industry partners. Yeah.
Well, I think so. I would say that to first order, the intellectual property licensing operations at the universities are working reasonably well. People always would like to get a better deal, or they're. I think where we run into a challenge is particularly in this sector when you're talking about a manufactured good, that long time cycle makes it difficult, because you're negotiating IP terms with a lot of uncertainty in terms of where you're headed, and I think where I see challenges is in that regard. The other thing that is a challenge for us right now, I think, with respect to intellectual property and working particularly with large manufacturing firms is their desire, again because of this long time to market, to get some certainty around royalty rates as they start cumulatively investing in this technology, and through some unfortunate interpretations of the IRS around how tax-exempt bonds funded buildings at universities are treated. There's restrictions that the universities have in terms of what they can do, and I think that particular issue was actually highlighted in the AMP report, and I think that's one of our challenges.
I guess just to build a little bit, I mean, you hit on a hugely challenging issue, and I'm not sure that there's, sort of a silver bullet answer. I mean, a lot of it in the cluster work, we're able to skirt the issue because we'll sort of go to a certain point in a group, and then somebody, 2 companies will break off and they'll negotiate their own agreement and then come back into the group, and that, sets sort of the tone. for things. One of the actually more interesting models for sort of industry collaborative at university is actually in Philadelphia with the Nanotechnology Institute. They have, I want to say it's like 10 institutions with anything that's commercialized in the nanotechnology is done under the same agreement. So it's a shared format. So if you're interested in that, I mean, that's one of the better models I've seen for sort of industrial, sort of a multi-tiered industrial collaboration with institutions.
Good. Let's take one more question. Maybe, how about over here? Yeah.
Pat Malloy. I'm a trade lawyer, but I was on the U.S.-China Commission for 10 years. And here's the question I have. Gene has talked about the need for public policy changes, including taxes. Fred Bergston, who runs the Peterson Institute across the street, made a major speech recently about the deleterious impact that exchange rate underpricing by Asian countries has had on the U.S. economy. In other words, when you underprice your currency, it makes it more difficult for us to send exports into that market and give those goods coming from those countries like China an export subsidy coming here. Both houses of Congress, unfortunately on different years, have passed legislation to put a countervailing duty to counteract that export subsidy that they get from the underpriced currency. Do you think dealing with that is part of a public policy initiative that we need to encourage manufacturing in this country?
How about Marty and James each take a whack at that?
I'll defer to you.
Okay.
I think certainly the question of how we think about currency and the value of currency plays in a big way for this sector, for manufacturing in particular. So I think it's an important topic to address for sure. But let me point to a related issue that goes with that. One of the things that's quite striking, by the way, when we look at the trade balances, is that if you look at most advanced economies have had a trade surplus in the value of knowledge-intensive manufacturing goods. Now, except for the U.S. in the last decade or so, except for the U.S. Now, some of that is explained by currency valuations, and so that's a big part of that. But the other part of it is also just has to do with just we have not been as competitive in some of the sectors where knowledge intensity is actually pretty important for tradable manufacturing goods. And I think that's an opportunity. Now, we've seen that start to turn in the last 3 years, actually. I think there's been some very smart policymaking that's helped with that. But I think that still doesn't address the currency valuation question you're raising. So I think that's an important topic. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I don't have a prescriptive answer for you. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we are out of time, so I want to thank everybody. This has been extremely interesting. I'd like to thank both Gene and Abstencia, but also our panelists, and for the great questions here. And thank you very much. We will see you soon. Take care.